What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven here with your afternoon snap, and today we are taking a look at the finals of the second Snap Wars League, and you might recognize our first competitor here, Roy, from the finals of the first Snap Wars League, where they took first place. Roy is looking to maintain his crown, and they are playing up against Lucifer, another player that we have showcased several times on this channel and has several tournament wins under their belt. And interestingly, kind of a fun fact here, both of these players joined up for a duos tournament recently. They were former teammates, but now they are battling against each other to see which one is the best. I'm currently doing a giveaway both for PAX bundles and season passes. Stick around till the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. I am going into this totally blind, no clue what either player is playing, but it looks like a high evolutionary deck here for Roy, and I didn't even get to see what Lucifer was playing there. We have just loaded things up. I don't often get to do live commentary, but the timing worked out for this. So let's see what these players can get up to here. Misty Knight and Sunspot is possibly the ideal turns 1 and 2 play from Lucifer. But do they like the Magik, and do they like the Space Throne? Bruce Banner's going to be a fine turn 3 play here. That's going to wind up in Jotunheim, regardless of how you slice it. And Jotunheim could turn into Limbo next turn. Looks like that's the plan from Roy. And yeah, still plenty of opportunity to pump up this Sunspot in the Space Throne. I don't think you're too bent up with that sequence of events there. And let's see what Lucifer is playing. A Thor deck. Wow, that is also not something that we see super often. So both players playing a little bit off meta here, which is always fun to see, though I have started to see a little bit of high evolutionary recently. Maybe we will see Fantasticar make an appearance, or maybe it could be a Clea deck. There's a few options with new cards and the high Evo strategy that we could be seeing from Roy here. From Lucifer, I mean, we could just be seeing a Beta Ray Bill. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of it. Sorry, Beta Ray Bill lover. I could not think of the name of the card before that one came down. And now the Hulk comes down for Bruce Banner for Roy. And there is the Fantasticar, the new $20 card. But these players are playing at the highest competitive tier that they can be right now, so we are going to see some acknowledgement of that with the new premium card. High evolutionary and a snap is going to come down from Roy. It's interesting that Roy doesn't just deploy the Fantasticar there. They are parking that in their hand. No, okay, they are getting into drive with that. I don't know, trying to come up with some Fantasticar puns, forgive me, but I think the haters will potentially come out for the Fantasticar player, but I think that is Lady Deathstrike on the Thor to take out a Magik. I don't know if that was the best trade there, but Cyclops now going to come down, Hulk staying in hand, and with 3 unspent energy, that won't allow She-Hulk and Hulk to get played next turn. Interestingly, this is a strange interaction to be sure, but She-Hulk currently gets pumped up by Fantasticar with that activate ability. Very strange, potentially a bug. I mean, She-Hulk does discount herself at the end of turn, so maybe it's intentional. And importantly, also, that Hulk that is in play does not have an end of turn ability. The Hulk from Bruce Banner. I do feel like there maybe could be something there if you generate a Hulk and you're playing high evolutionary, but because that's a start of game ability, it does not re-trigger. And with a Zabu out there from Lucifer, not really too much on the board. We are in it for 2 cubes right now. I'm trying to think of what Lucifer could possibly have. My guards are definitely down. Spider Island. Oh, you can go She-Hulk plus High Evolutionary. Oh, that's reasonable. It feels like Roy has just won this game from all angles here. How they would get into it, I mean, I guess would be a Shang-Chi and a Killmonger. That would do it, right? So it's always possible. And this is a Zabu deck. Is it a Killmonger deck? I mean, it's a Lady Deathstrike deck. So we're kind of potentially looking at maybe a, this is actually just a straight up better play because, well, actually it's not straight up better. High Evolutionary is for, no, it is, it's basically straight up better. High Evolutionary is a 4/7. Thaddeus is a 2. And then because you are not spending 2 energy, it's 2 extra points onto Sunspot, 1 extra point from Misty Knight, 2 extra points from Cyclops, and then 2 more points from Fantasticar, because Thaddeus is also an end of turn ability. So Thaddeus winds up being a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 2/7. Same amount of overall power, just distributed slightly differently. This might actually be a Killmonger Shang-Chi. Wow, it is. Is Roy going to have enough points to still take it, though, with the Cyclops and the Fantasticar? He is. Did not even activate Fantasticar there, but will still get the victory. Is that right? Fantasticar did not activate? That's strange, but still a win there for Roy. Going into game 2, we also see Mr. Fantastic first steps from Roy and an Altar of Death, which, I mean, this is a deck that enjoys extra energy. We could also just see Magik turn that location into Limbo. And we actually already have a Limbo, so we don't even need to do that. Interestingly, the Limbo pretty good for Lucifer, allowing them to deploy a Shang-Chi and a Killmonger on the final turn, but Roy was able to best that. So, and maybe I just don't know how Fantasticar works yet. I'm pretty sure it is activate, your end of turn cards get +2 power. So I think it wasn't utilized by Roy there, but I could be wrong. But I think that we did see it go unused. We are going to see a snap come down here from Lucifer and a Bruce Banner with an energy floating come down from Roy. This is a Beta Ray Bill on turn 3 thanks to Zabu. That is certainly powerful. I'm not sure if Lucifer is playing Jane, but I think that they might be. Something like Jane allowing you to go Shang-Chi, Grandmaster, and Stormbreaker on the final turn in some combination, whether you're Grandmastering the Stormbreaker or the Shang-Chi, seems like a reasonably powerful combination. To that end, playing your Shang-Chi-able cards in the same location as the Beta Ray Bill does make some sense to play around that specifically. Cyclops to afflict Beta Ray Bill, also going to mitigate the damage that a Stormbreaker could bring. Double Limbo, we are definitely seeing a turn 7 this game. And next turn, I imagine Roy would love to drop one of these Hulks, whichever one gets a potential discount here from Mr. Fantastic First Steps, which is now gone, but Hulk getting the +2 energy at the end of turn, or +2 power, rather, at the end of turn, means that it could come down, though we could also just see a Lady She-Hulk come down here. Though I feel like Roy is just, oh, they are going to pass. Wow, okay. I was really expecting here, to be honest, to just see Red Hulk plus Green Hulk next turn and just eschew the She-Hulk entirely, because the Red Hulk and the normal Hulk are just worth more points to just go for those. But now we are going to see a Green Hulk and a She-Hulk come down and a battle for all 3 locations. Probably. I think that makes the most sense in a Shang-Chi environment. No sense to double commit and just get 2 of your cards Shang-Chi'd. And Shang-Chi will win it in the non-Limbo location over in Xandar. And importantly, we do also see Jane Foster come down for Lucifer. And this could be the final cubes. Let's try to figure out what Lucifer could possibly have here. I mean, Stormbreaker isn't going to be enough to go over the top in Xandar, so you also have to Shang-Chi there, and then maybe you also are playing Negasonic Teenage Warhead alongside your Lady Deathstrike. Kind of a stretch, but if this is like a Fenris Wolf deck, maybe these are cards that could show up in combination with each other. We could also potentially see a Gladiator into the center limbo for just a few more points over the top there. Stormbreaker would obviously also get played into limbo, so that could be a few more points, but 22 is a lot of points, and Lucifer knows that, well, actually, they might put their guard down for a second. I wasn't thinking about that. They have seen the Red Hulk every turn, so they might be thinking a Red Hulk is coming here and not actually a 22-point Green Hulk. We're going to see Shadow King come in and take out the Beta Ray Bill, but then Misery's going to bring it back up. It's not going to be enough. Oh wait, Firehair re-triggers on it, but Firehair is still not enough in Limbo. So yeah, Lucifer was covered in Xandar for a variety of different ways. I think the Shadow King actually should have gone in the center, and then Stormbreaker, Misery over in Limbo to just double and double that Beta Ray Bill. It would have gotten up to 40 power if the Shadow King had not stopped it temporarily, I think. I'm doing the quick math there, but I think it was at 5. Oh, but it's actually at... Oh, no, wait. Sorry, yeah, there's a lot of confusing math going on right here with the Cyclops, but yeah, I think Lucifer could have taken that. For match 2, both players are allowed to change decks, and we might have just gotten a little sneak peek there. This could be the final match of this league. Let's see how it shakes out here. Not a great hand for Roy with both of their cards that they want to discard on the left side of their hand. They could Colleen Wing to get that Scorn on the other side of their hand and then Grandmaster the Colleen Wing. Though this isn't exactly what you want to be doing for this deck. It's not exactly a snappable position. Will it be a retreatable position is the question, as Lucifer brings down the turn 1 snap. It feels like Roy is going to stay in it. This hand isn't that bad. It's just not that exciting. No Bullseye, no Daken. But we'll see where it goes. And interestingly, they do decide to play the Colleen Wing into that leftmost location, so it could get Grandmastered. And Blade is actually an incredible draw off the top here, though Roy deciding, okay, yeah, I think playing this Blade and discarding the Scorn is just simply good enough. It's just a 1/5, and that's totally fine. Grandmaster to discard the Scorn again could also be fine. I think one of the things that Roy could be eyeing up here is the potential to like play Scorn this turn and then Grandmaster the Colleen Wing to discard the Swarm. It's a potential play. I don't think it's the best play. And because Blade did not get played into Aunt May's, Frigga's not looking like the best play here either. Honestly, like Scorn into Aunt May's and then Frigga to pick up a 1/9 seems reasonable, yet unexciting, and it looks like we are going to Frigga a 1/3 copy of that Blade, and potentially we're going to be using it to discard Swarms here. And we see that Lucifer is on a Thanos Strange Supreme deck. Morbius would have been a much better Frigga hit there, but what can you do? And then Grandmaster, that will discard the Scorn, and Blade will discard the Scorn again as well. So we are at least getting a big Morbius out of these things, potentially going to look to activate Aunt May's here. And then on the final turn, it's just like M.O.D.O.K plus Scorn. That's the play. I'm curious if Roy is currently trying to throw priority, though I don't think that that is the most important thing to be doing right now. It is reasonable. We're going to see a ton of stones come down here from Lucifer. And this is the first play of the game into Aunt May's. I imagine, well, actually, Scorn and M.O.D.O.K will both be Shang-Chi-able next turn. So that actually is a little bit curious, and I do believe that Roy is going to have priority going into this final turn, though Yeah, I think they're just going to have more overall total power. Reality Stone takes out Titan and gives us Shuri's Lab. That could become a little bit interesting. Now, I mean, yeah, we're pretty tempted to play Scorn into the lab here, if we even stay in it, right? Yeah, could just certainly be a retreat, I think, from that point. You can put down a few points of power with M.O.D.O.K plus Scorn. You discard 2 cards, that pumps up Morbius, but like Shuri's Lab, you can easily get outpaced in. You've probably already lost Aunt May's, you just lose it to Vision every time. So we are going to see a retreat here for 2 cubes from Roy, and this Thanos deck from Lucifer is not a Thanos deck that I actually have too much experience with. It did top 8 or top 16 the second Golden Gauntlet tournament, I believe. The Hope Summers and Vision. I don't know the full deck list, but definitely an interesting take on Thanos, and Thanos can really incorporate so many different cards, if we're being honest, that yeah, it's hard to say that any Thanos deck is like the best Thanos deck, because you can get away with playing so many different varieties of cards because of the versatility of the stones. I do think this is going to be a quick snap here from Lucifer. TVA, I have to imagine, rewards the tempo of Thanos as opposed to the setup of this Daken discard deck, which just isn't going to be able to pull off any of their incredible combos in a 4-turn game. Soul Stone and another stone coming down. Could be Reality Stone. No, it's going to be Time Stone coming down on turn 2. But Lucifer not willing to bring down the turn 2 snap. Miek, Bullseye, Grandmaster. Interesting. I mean, most points is probably Frigga on Collector. And then next turn, Collector, Miek, Blade, and hope to draw Swarm, so that you can discard it and pump up both of your collectors. I think that that's probably the best sequence that you could have in a TVA game, and ignoring Vibranium Mines where your opponent already has a 3-point lead and focusing on those other 2 locations is probably the right call. Though if Roy has an opportunity to put 4 points exactly into Vibranium Mines on the final turn, they might go for that, though. I mean, I guess they could have played the Frigga there too, right? But they don't want to play it, and potentially... Okay, they're going to go for Bullseye instead. Now, Bullseye in a short game like this does have some versatility, because they can just activate it next turn, and then Bullseye's effectively been like a 3-7. Morbius, of course, is going to be a fantastic card to slam down, and then Grandmaster to tie it in Vibranium Mines, plus a Bullseye trigger could potentially shrink the Space Stone to allow Grandmaster to go over the top. This seems like a reasonable way to battle, and for 1 cube, I might be tempted to stay in it as Roy, especially with Morbius winning you Onslaught Citadel. It almost feels like an overcommit in that location. And this is without priority. Collector is not growing, but Bullseye could shrink some of the cards across from the Collector, especially with 3 cards there. Hope Summers will get a loss, but Reality Stone will turn off the TVA, so we don't have to deal with that. And now Lucifer just gained a ton of advantage by controlling TVA. And when you know that you're going to turn off TVA like that and your opponent doesn't, I mean, now Roy actually just has to retreat, because they have expended so many resources doing absolutely nothing. Frigga's going to grab a copy of Grandmaster, not even a copy of Morbius. So next turn they can Grandmaster the Frigga. What does that do? Does that get another Frigga or another Grandmaster? I'm not sure. Either way, it is not super exciting. Scorn in hand with no Bullseye, also not super exciting. I guess this Grandmastered Frigga is pumping the Collector, but I don't know. M.O.D.O.K can pump the Morbius, but I think retreat is definitely the right angle there. Funny how that game worked out, but yeah, you get to see the full power of Reality Stone on display there. Being able to just know how many turns are in the game when your opponent doesn't is always incredibly, incredibly powerful. That's why they nerfed Magik probably like 2 years ago or 3 years ago almost at this point. Way back at the very beginning of the game, you used to be able to play Magik on turn 1, or sorry, not on turn 1, on turn 6. You used to be able to play Magik and create Limbo, and that was just way too powerful. That asymmetrical information was a very, very strong card, and we see a very similar thing from the Reality Stone there from Lucifer, who is now up 3 cubes. Not bad, up 3 cubes, but down 1 entire conquest match. So definitely still a little bit of a comeback needed from Lucifer. Lucifer's going to grab a M.O.D.O.K there from White Palace, not a super useful card at all. The Vision from Roy, also probably not incredibly useful. And to be honest, both players are probably disappointed just for having additional cards in their hand from White Palace. That could make some things a little bit awkward. We do see a Bullseye here from Roy, and we don't really know what tech Lucifer has access to. Now, if I'm trying to remember the Hope Summers Thanos decks that I've seen, I don't think that they played much tech. I think that it was Vision, and I think that it was actually potentially Captain Marvel, also like on the mid end of the curve, though Fenrir's Wolf does kind of imply some tech might be waiting in the wings, so might have spoken a little bit too soon here, but Bullseye is going to come down as the activate card of choice for Roy. And then we could see something like a final turn M.O.D.O.K into Blade, which will then allow at least 3 swarms to get discarded from Bullseye. We'll see if we can do anything else before then. Next turn, it looks like it might be a Frigga on Bullseye plus a Miek, and then turn 5 Bullseye, turn 6 M.O.D.O.K plus Blade. That is what I am currently eyeing up here for Roy, and it does look like they are going to go with that plan. We do see a snap come in from Lucifer. I have to imagine Roy is going to be willing to accept this snap, though. They've already hit the end turn button. Yet double Bullseye with this many swarms does seem like a fairly reasonable route to go. Best draw off the top of the deck here is going to be Morbius, and I don't think it's particularly close, though. Collector is a fine replacement. That's the next best thing that they can play next turn alongside that Bullseye. So I don't imagine that they're really hurting for anything else here. I don't think that they'll go for a Daken. I think that they've got to be all in on this double Bullseye plan. Though maybe there is an interesting universe where they could go Daken and then Grandmaster the Daken on the final turn and have 2 Bullseyes in play and potentially make something else interesting happen. Strange Supreme, Soulstone, and a Mockingbird made extremely cheap by those free Raptors there for Lucifer. And let's see what comes off the top. This is going to be the 7th card in Roy's hand, and it is that Daken. Now, you certainly just play Collector Bullseye this turn, I think every single time, but it is interesting to at least consider some potential Daken draws. Like I said, it's really just going to be Grandmaster, and Roy has considered them enough that they decide to throw in a snap. Now, I do have to imagine, okay, so I think one of the things motivating this snap is the fact that White Palace is full right now. So this seems like a potential Morbius to stop the swarm when Roy was basically all in on that plan. This could be really awkward. You actually want to play the you can play the Blade second. It's totally fine. We're going to activate both Bullseyes. Those will discard just the swarms. I'm sorry, just the Scorn. They won't discard any swarms because of that Morbius. So because of that, we are actually going to see the Blade into White Palace, and Roy's going to have to do some calculations to see if Blade is enough to go over the top in White Palace, because I'm not sure that it is. Yeah, I think you need the 7 points from M.O.D.O.K over in White Palace. Let's see, that's 9. I think they're just going to hope to get lucky with Scorn triggers and Bullseye triggers, and they're looking to be in it for 7 cubes. I think Lucifer is going to be able to take this one, though, I mean, Strange Supreme could always eat a Space Stone. I guess you can't count on all of those points in White Palace, and they don't know what Fenris Wolf is doing here yet. We haven't seen any type of destroy effects from Lucifer in this match. So, could be a Gladiator into Savage Land, and then, like, something else in Isle of Silence. Oh, a Cannonball, that's not going to do too much, but it might now mean that Lucifer just does not have the points in Isle of Silence, or I'm sorry, Roy does not have the points in Isle of Silence. Let's see what Roy is able to come up with here with these pair of Bullseye activations. Yeah, Collector's going to actually be more than big enough, so I was totally wrong on that. Now, the Scorn did pump up the Collector, both in its ability and then from the Collector's ability, so we did get a bunch of extra pumps there. Oh, and this is just a win from... Okay, so I play this Bullseye deck a lot, and one thing that I always say about it is deceptively powerful. It is very common that your opponents just underestimate completely your power output, and guilty as charged. I totally did. That game was not close. 24-11, 20-13. That is a crushing victory there for Roy, despite being cannonballed on the final turn. So, a lot of points there. It did help that Cannonball did not move Miek, that the basically that Lucifer had priority was certainly a big help. We're going to see the Chimichanga stay in Roy's hand here, and a snap comes down from Lucifer. Chimichanga playing that on the final turn seems reasonable. That way you are potentially throwing priority. Again, we saw how important that was in the last match. Chimichanga can also get discarded to Bullseye, which is technically breaking news, an upgrade for it. If you have like a Miek in play or a Morbius in play, you're getting a little bit more value off the Chimichanga that way. Daily Bugle gives a Fenris Wolf over to Roy, and one thing that I just straight up did not consider about Fenris Wolf is Roy is playing a discard deck. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but Fenris Wolf can just grab random things that Roy happens to discard. Like, Roy's going to discard a Swarm here. Fenris Wolf could get that back. It wouldn't be that exciting, but it is possible. And we are also going to see the Chimichanga get played into the kiln this turn. Roy wants to battle for the kiln before it is closed. And honestly, I think they can make a decent showing for it with their Miek there as well. Lucifer is just going to ignore that location, though they can get Vision in there pretty easily, and they can play Thanos in there easily as well because of their Space Stone. So, not a huge deal regardless. And yeah, like I said, Fenris Wolf, if Lucifer plays their Fenris Wolf, I believe they will be able to get back a Swarm. We are going to see a few Swarms get discarded here just for Miek. Oh, no, okay, for Miek and the Collector. I apologize. I was just thinking that Morbius has not shown up here just yet, but this is still going to be some reasonable discards here. We'll see what reasonable plays Lucifer comes up with for the kiln, because it is about to close this turn, but like I said, Lucifer does have multiple ways to get in there yet, so could have seen them just play into Hope Summers this turn. Instead, they are indeed going to battle for kiln. Could be Strange Supreme. That would be a pretty good card to set up in that location for just some recursive power over the course of the game. What else could we see? I mean, this could be Strange Supreme plus Fenris Wolf, even though it locks you out of that location. Currently, Strange Supreme will probably eat one of those two stones at some point in the game, and that also means that you can't count on the Space Stone allowing you to play Thanos to the kiln either. So we're going to lock that up with Strange Supreme plus Fenris Wolf, and it is actually already winning for Lucifer, though Miek visiting into the kiln again will continue to battle for it for him as well. Tie it up 14 apiece, though. Strange Supreme's going to go over the top eventually. Now we've got Vision. This is a really interesting kiln game as both players are full of ways to continue to access the kiln. That makes this really interesting. What do you Frigga here? Do you Frigga your Scorn? I think you should play those two cards in the other order. I think Roy will see it. Yeah, Roy is a fantastic player, of course. And then you activate the Bullseye. That's going to discard 4 Swarms and a Scorn. That's going to make the Collector get +7. No, +8 because it will also get +1 from Frigga. How well will this Bullseye do? Honestly, I don't think the Bullseye even matters. I think Roy wins Taco Truck, and I think they're going to win the kiln with Miek getting an additional +5 here. That's actually going to be really close against Strange Supreme. We do see that the Swarm comes in for Lucifer in the kiln, but it is not enough points. And Roy takes the match, and the second Conquest win means that they have won, and they are our Season 2 champion as well. But this might be where the buck stops for Roy, because this season I am in the Champions League as well. I've been playing in the Marvel Snap League the past 2 seasons, and there's 3 divisions. So I started at the lowest tier and then made the top 4 and advanced into the middle tier, where I again made top 4 to advance into the Champions League. So I am coming for that crown, baby. And honestly, there's a lot of really good Marvel Snap players in this league, so I'm just really hoping to not make the bottom 4 and get relegated back down. But either way, it is going to be a lot of fun, and I have got a lot of competitive Marvel Snap to showcase in the coming weeks. So subscribe for that, and here's some more information on my giveaway. To enter into my giveaway, there are 3 things that you need to do. The first is subscribe to this YouTube channel. The second is leave a comment on any of my videos. This season, every comment will give you an additional entry into the giveaway. Limit 1 per video, but you can comment on all of the videos that I upload throughout this season. And the third thing that you have to do is join my Discord. And the reason that I need you to do that is so that way I can contact you if you win, because YouTube comments, you don't always get the notifications for things like that. So join my Discord, leave a comment on all of my videos, and subscribe for more sweet Marvel Snap.